Hello everyone, it's Jen. I'm so excited to be sharing the new release stamps for November 2020. This is the Winter Sentiments, and the best thing about these stamps is you can actually get them for free. That's right, for free. So this one you can get with a $60 purchase, and then the Winter Friends with the adorable bunny and the fox you can receive for free with a $100 purchase, and I believe you get both of them if you spend the $100. So how cool is that? Jamie wanted to thank everyone for continuing to support her business at the Not2Shabby Shop. So let's jump into the card. I could not wait to color up these little cuties. I did condition my stamps just so I'd get a good impression just using a white eraser. Stamp those out with my Lawn Fun Jet Black ink, and then I'm going to do some coloring today with alcohol markers. And I thought it would be fun to do a Ohuhu and Copic marker coloring in the same video. So I'm using my Ohuhu markers for the fox. I'll be using warm grays for both of them. Now I find with the Ohuhu markers, there's fewer markers that you would use for those lighter shades or those highlights. So I chose to do the fox in a darker gray color. So I'm using WG4, WG3, and WG0. The WG0 is the lightest that comes in the Ohuhu 120 marker set. And I will link everything that I'm using in the description box below, including the links to the stamps, and you can use coupon code N2S10 to save 10% off your entire purchase at the Not2Shabby Shop, and you can get one or both stamps depending on your purchase. So how cool is that? So back to the coloring. I wanted to show you that I color the exact same way whether I'm using Copics or I'm using Ohuhu, and just kind of the similarities or differences in terms of the markers. Now they're not the exact same colors obviously, but I wanted to show you what I get with some of the lightest warm grays in both marker sets, and then I use the cool gray there for the white on the tip of the tail for the fox as well as his eyes. And now I'm moving on to the bunny, which I'm using my Copic. So I'm using W3, W1, and W00. I wanted the bunny to be a lighter warm gray, kind of more like a little bit of an off-white color, just because I wanted them to look different on the card. I didn't want them to be the exact same kind of shades, and I don't even know that I could achieve that given the colors are different with both of the markers. And that little foot there, I had left that because I thought maybe I would keep that white, but then I thought it looked kind of funny, so I went back and colored that up. So you can see that I started with the darkest markers for both of them, blended those out with the midtone and then the lightest color, and with that bunny, definitely keeping it a lot lighter. So I'm also going to do the white areas here. So I'm using the W1 and then blending that out with the W00. So for the cheeks, I'm using R20 for both of them actually. So with the Ohuhu marker for the fox, and then the R20 Copic marker for the bunny. And then for the nose on the fox, I'm using WG09. And if I were using a Copic marker, I would use the E49. So I did color up the mug here, and the heart, that pink marker, got away from me there. I used the R83 and the RV11. I do use the heart. I don't use the little mug with the cocoa in it. It's got marshmallows. It's really cute. I also decided in the end to color up a red heart and also a blue one. So here's the difference with the cool gray markers. So for the bunny, I'm using C3 and C1 and then blending that out with the colorless blender. That's for the little fluffs, or the little puff ball on the top, and then on the front of the hat there. And then for the fox, I'm using the CG2 and the CG00 and blending that out with the colorless blender. And you can see pretty similar. So I hope this is helpful. I talked about this in a previous video. A lot of people ask about affordable alternatives to Copic markers, and I love my Ohuhus. So now we're just going to use up some paper. I'm using some Doodlebug Milk and Cookies 6x6 paper pad. I only had a few full sheets left and then some scraps here, and I'm going to use this to paper piece. Now this paper pad is from 2007. I've been holding on to those little scraps and I wanted to use them up. So paper piecing is perfect to use up some of your favorite paper that you've been hoarding, dare I say, for a while. So I'm going to stamp this out. I'm using my mini Misti just to help me and because I love my stamping tool, but you definitely don't need one to do this kind of stamping, and it might even be easier on a stamp block, but I think you tend to gravitate towards those things you love, and my mini Misti is definitely one of my favorite all-time crafty tools. So I chose the hearts for the fox. I'm going to do his little booties. Now you could also color his little paws there in the front as if it were part of his fur. I decided to make it look like he had mittens on because the bunny has mittens, which are they not the cutest things you've ever seen? So cute. They have the little tassels hanging down. I absolutely love them. And then I just went for the polka dot pattern for the bunny. So you saw me moving around that stamp. I just wanted to make sure I got some of the tinier hearts on the hat so you could actually tell that those were indeed little hearts. So now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to fussy cut out the areas that I want, my paper for the hat and then the scarf and then the little booties. So cute. So I am cutting right on the black line. And then I will go ahead and I'll use a black marker just to go along those edges. It really helps to hide those imperfections. Now with the scarf, I'm not going to worry about the little tassels hanging down. I'm just going to cut those right off because you will be able to see those on the stamped image of the fox itself. So you don't have to worry about all those little details when you have the image stamped. I'm just going to show you how I put this all together with the fox, and then I'll go ahead and complete the little bunny off screen. Now sometimes these tinier pieces can be a little bit tricky. I do find it easiest to kind of cut away as much of the pattern paper that you don't need, so you can really get your scissors maneuvering in those little areas. And I always keep my scissors still and then move the paper, and that really helps. So don't those little booties or mittens on the fox look really sweet? So here's where I'm using my Memento marker just to outline where I cut along that black line. You can't really tell the difference that it makes in a video, but in person and on the card it makes a huge difference. And you can use any kind of black marker that you have. A Sharpie even works, or like a Crayola black marker. So if you've never tried doing that when you fussy cut an image, give it a try and you'll really notice the difference. So you can see there I've got my bunny, all her little pieces. Look at her little mittens, they're so cute. I do end up using a pink color, I think the R83, for the little tassels hanging down. And I'm just using my reverse tweezers here to help me get these smaller pieces into place, although I don't think I do a very good job. I think I find it a little bit hard to pick up some of these, but they can be super helpful. So I am using my Fawn glue tube here. Just use any kind of liquid adhesive that you prefer to add your paper piecing. And then once I have all of the paper adhered to my images, I will go ahead and fussy cut them. I'm going to leave a small border. First though, I'm going to add some shading with a light cool gray marker. So for the Copic, I'm going to use the C1, and I decided just to use that marker for the fox as well, just to make it easier as I was adding in these shadows. If you want more of a contrast, you can use a C3 marker. So I went ahead and cut out my panels. I'm using the polka dot paper, and I cut a scalloped rectangle with that, and then I have a white card panel here, and I cut that out using a stitched rectangle die. I cut that out of some white glitter cardstock as well, using that same stitched rectangle, so I can go ahead and add that to the bottom. And I wanted the snowbanks to be really fluffy, so I used my Lawn Fawn cloud border for that. And now I'm using my little Pink and Mane ergonomic mini blending tool. This is my first time using it. I love it. So I'm using Distress Oxide in Tumbled glass. I wanted a really soft background with some white showing. So enough to just lay down some color, but I didn't want full coverage. So that is exactly how I want it. Now I can add my snow to the bottom here. And I am going to use some double-sided tape for this. I find it just adheres really nicely with a heavier cardstock such as the glitter cardstock. Now, if my art glitter glue hadn't run out, I would definitely use that as well. I find it to be a really strong adhesive. So I just need to cut this down a little bit so it will fit behind those deep kind of indents from the cloudy border, and then I'll add just a couple small pieces to those areas at the top there just to make sure it sticks down nicely. And this double-sided tape, I just get it off of Amazon, and you get one shot with this. This stuff is so sticky, but I love it because then it means nothing's going to move off your card once it's adhered. So I'm going to line this up really carefully, get that into place. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to adhere my insert panel here onto my pattern paper. So not very much of that pattern paper is going to be seen. It'll just kind of peek out a little bit. But I love how it pulls in all the colors from the pattern paper that I used to paper piece the hats and the scarves and the little mittens. I do want to ensure that it adheres well, so I did add my large stamp block there for a while. And now I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment. So I'm using the Warm Winter Wishes sentiment, and I'm kind of nuzzling that where the little puff on the bunny's hat is. And I'm just going to stamp that out with my Versafine Clair Nocturne ink. So once I got that into place, I did knock it out there a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that with my hand before I had placed the top of my positioning tool to pick up the stamp. But no big deal, just got that back in place. I did remove my fox and bunny. I just didn't want to have a mishap and get any ink on them. So to add a little bit more decoration, I'm going to take one of the snowflakes from the Winter Sentiments stamp, and I'm going to bring the Tumbled Glass Distress Oxide ink back out, and I'm just going to add a few snowflakes here. I didn't want very many because I knew that I was going to add 3 of the hearts as embellishments, but I really love how this just gave something a little bit extra to the scene. So that turned out really pretty. So even though that's mostly a sentiment stamp, well, it also has the 2 trees. I love that it has the little heart, and it's got a little dot that you can use as a snowflake. And then it's got 2 different patterns of snowflakes. So now that I have that done, I can go ahead and I'm going to adhere my 2 little critters together. And then I'm just going to add some cardstock here to the top of their heads, just because this is going to hang off the glitter cardstock, which it has quite a bit of dimension, so I didn't want there to be a noticeable dip from the heads of my little critters here to their bodies. So that's just an easy way to use up some of your scrap cardstock. And then I can go ahead and I can adhere them into place. I will add my stamp block again just to try to get a really good adherence to that glitter paper, but you can see the bottom of the bunny there isn't quite adhered down, so I will fix that. So I just have my little Twiddler's Nook tray out here. This is an embellishment tray. I absolutely love it. I had my 3 hearts in it, and then I'm just using my Studio Katya embellishment wand to get those little hearts in place. And doesn't that pick up nicely on the colors from the pattern paper. So to finish off, just using a little bit of my Spectrum Noir glitter pen, and that's the card for today. So please feel free to go check out the Not2Shabby Shop. I have all the links below, including the link to the shop, which is an affiliate link. I appreciate all your support for using my links. Also, don't forget coupon code N2S10. Thanks everybody. Have a fabulous day, and I'll see you really soon. Bye.